We're going to do a couple resident submitted questions and then wrap up with our closing statements and be done here tonight. So I've got a couple from the bowl. I'm going to let the candidate pick. And if I went notes, Dawn did first on the first round. So I'm going to ask you to go first on this round.
Do I need to put on my glasses? Or
Oh, I can read it.
Do you want me to read it?
Either way.
What is the City of Lakewood going to do to rejuvenate the Colfax corridor? Our current Colfax looks like the old East Colfax. Back in the day, Lakewood was the envy of nearby communities. Clearly, that's no longer the case. I would like to have each candidate explain how they will help bring Lakewood back to the beautiful city it once was. That's a wonderful question, because the city has tried many things. In the 25 years that I've lived in Lakewood, Colfax has always had some kind of a beautification project, and there have been some improvements and some things that you know, when one area improves, then we get Westland and Sears closing. And overall, it's still a mess. So what can we do? Well, this goes back to economic development and how we develop in the city. Number one, having the city council approval on all of our large development projects. Number two, city council recently started the process for dealing with properties along Colfax where we have property owners and they're just letting their property sit there, and it is creating a public nuisance and a public health hazard by attracting those needles that we were just talking about recently. On the most minor things, it's the noxious weeds. We can, as other communities have found successful, and as I have spoken to many current city councilors about, have a blighted and vacant property fee. If you, as a landowner on a property where you are not living, are not keeping it up, and it's costing us as the city, as so many properties along Colfax do, then we can charge the landowner, and we as a city can clean those up, and we can create parks and open spaces, and we can beautify West Colfax in that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree with what Cathy just said. I want to start though, even before that, and it comes back to the crime. Crime has been the number one thing in Lakewood. I've heard 100% of the time from every voter I've talked to. And I was at a West Colfax bid meeting the other day at our a forum down there, and right down the street, within a block of us, were prostitutes standing out there. Farther down, there was a drug deal. I saw it happen while I'm sitting in my Jeep waiting for our meeting. It's at 8 o'clock in the morning. We need to fix the crime issue, and that's again bringing some police. Investors aren't going to spend $5 million to put a new business on Lakewood when that kind of stuff is happening right down the street from them. We have to fix that. I agree with Cathy. We can clean up the visual look of it, but we got to get to this systemic problem, and that's the crime that's up and down Colfax, and deal with it. It can't continue this way, or it'll keep getting worse. And I met with a number of business owners not long ago that would like to invest in West Colfax. They'd like to build a restaurant in West Colfax, but they themselves pointed the same thing out to me. I mean, when you are going to spend $5 million to invest in a business, you'd want to know that you have a good chance of making it go. I want our businesses to thrive, not just survive, and worse than that, watch some of them fail. Some of these buildings are that way because of poor management when it comes to putting good tenants in there, and those good tenants can't afford it because, again, the crime. I've talked to business owners. There's gun casings laying on their front door, on the step, walking into their shops. I talked to one little guy that runs a jewelry shop. He carries a gun on his hip because he's afraid of what's going on out there. He thinks he's gonna get robbed. Nice little Vietnamese man, wonderful man, but tells me, he says, I don't know that Lakewood supports me. Well, I want to fix that. And I want not just Colfax, but I want Alameda. I want Wadsworth. I want it to be safe, crime-free, so businesses can thrive. Thank
Very good. Excellent.
you.
Could I ask you to pick a question? That's 2.
Is that 2?
Let me see if I may.
They're taped together, so I don't know what that is.
Well, and you may have just did. This is 2 related questions. So let me see if you would like to have any further thoughts on it. Question is, Lakewood's crime rate is 30% higher than the national crime rate. It has taken decades to create a soft on crime culture in Lakewood. The city manager, police chief, municipal, Jefferson County judges, and the majority of city council support the soft on crime approach. How will you change that? And secondary, another person submitted, I'd like to know why there seems to be a lack of enforcement of our laws. What do they plan on doing to make us look different from Denver? Look at Golden and Wheat Ridge. They are growing and thriving, and Lakewood is falling apart. Does anybody have anything to add to this question? You have both addressed crime.
I think we both kind of covered this one pretty good. But it's just
Good.
my opinion. I mean, we can get into the weeds on the DA not prosecuting, but that's not a mayoral topic. So
Very good.
I don't know how you want to do it.
I think you've probably, we have gone through a crime question. Let me see if there's something else in here at this point.
Okay.
And again, these were all, this is one emailed in, one on Nextdoor. I'm happy to submit all of these questions to you. I'm sure you both are open to answering anything after hours at your leisure when it's not 9 o'clock at night.
Okay, well, we've kind of answered this one too, but
Okay.
let's go for it. There's a narrative that claims that Lakewood needs more affordable housing to get more jobs. Yet a number of communities with significantly more expensive housing, such as Boulder and Golden, have far better economic development progress. How do you explain this? I don't see the tie between the affordable housing and the jobs that we're talking about in this when it comes to the economic part of it. The people that open up small businesses, they're not destitute, most of them. Most of them have income. Most of them have savings. They're looking for the best way to invest their money. I think it's naive of us to think that Boulder and Golden don't have some of the problems we have. They do, actually. Some of their commercial space is vacant. We have more commercial spaces vacant. The Colorado Restaurant Association was telling me that Lakewood has a desert when it comes to restaurants. We're short 500 to 800 restaurants for Lakewood. And keeps flipping back to the crime part of it. They don't want to invest big money in Lakewood unless they feel secure in investing their money. That's not a housing issue as much as that's a crime issue. And so that's just my opinion on it. We keep having to focus on that. That one issue can turn Lakewood around and cause people to want to be in Lakewood. We don't even have to, what's the word? We don't have to incentivize them to want to come to Lakewood. They want to come to Lakewood if they felt like it would be profitable. So.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you for taking a stab at in a new direction.
I think it's a wonderful question, and jobs and the economy and affordability are extremely linked. I thank you for the question, whoever submitted that. And when you talk about Boulder and Golden, specifically Boulder, one of the reasons those of us that got together and created the Strategic Growth Initiative, I know, Mr. Burkhart, you said you hadn't heard of it, before you started running. But one of the things we looked at and in deciding to model more after Golden was how Boulder's growth problems really came about, and their affordability problem was really sort of almost the opposite of Lakewood. Boulder had the issue where they had so many high tech and really good paying jobs, attracting so many employers and employees that they didn't have enough housing for all their employees. Lakewood, that's a problem we need to start almost creating. In Lakewood, unfortunately, one of the reasons we're probably short on restaurants is because so many of us in the community do not have the disposable income to spend on restaurants here in Lakewood. As a whole, Lakewood is very much considered sort of a bedroom community, and we don't have those good paying primary jobs here. And I would be okay with incentivizing some of those high tech, high paying jobs that offer a wide variety. Those of us that do work for a living, our salaries have not nearly kept up with rents. And we're being very cost burdened by that. So I definitely see the tie between that and a healthy economy and affordable housing. Along with that is providing the actual housing that people want and need. But if income is not keeping up with their rising rent, as they haven't been, then people have to move. And they're moving out of Lakewood for the most part, if they need to. Some of them are not, because when you look at the rents at the metro area as a whole, Lakewood actually has some of the most affordable. So then we end up with, as Mr. Burkhart says, we don't have many restaurants because we don't have many people with that kind of disposable income. Thank you.
Thank you. Good. One more question?
Sure.
Would you like to pick?
However many you would like. As mayor, will you take the pledge to help monarch butterflies and other pollinators? And there's a link to the pledge. I never will take any pledge without actually reading the pledge first. I love monarch butterflies, though. So I hope that answers the question.
Very good. Mr. Burkhart.
You know, this one I can guarantee I'm exactly the same as Cathy on. I think butterflies are beautiful. Pollinators are important to our environment, but the pledge itself, again, unless I've seen it, I don't know what that would mean. So I definitely support our environment that way, though. I love Colorado because of it.
Very good. This question as well was on a Nextdoor post.
Oh,
so there are avenues. Everybody is welcome to reach out to you. But I thought if it was generous of you both to take the time to answer some of these questions from people.
That was a fun question. It's
kind of lighthearted and I enjoyed it. Yeah.
We have time for closing questions and closing statements. Is there anything you would like to say to wrap us up?
No, I've got like 2 minutes, 1 minute, something short.
Okay. Let's hear what you have to say.
I just want to let people know that I've heard all kinds of things about me throughout Lakewood. I was a businessman first. I ran a lot of small businesses. I've been a real estate broker for 47 years. I was hired by a man to open a mortgage banking company. And in 3 short years, I took that company from 0 to 1,350 employees. That's leadership. And we did wildly successful business. We were good. And it was a lot of fun doing that. In comparison, Lakewood's 740 employees. So 1,350 employees trained me, if you will, for this kind of thing. No, I don't have the experience inside of City Hall, but that's something that I can learn. I adapt quickly to my environment. That is, I want people to know that I've got the skill set to be able to do it. And then the people side of it, as a pastor for the last 25 years, still am a pastor, will always be a pastor. I love people. I want to do what's good for people. I want them to know I care about them. And I do have compassion for every person here in Lakewood. So thank you for taking time to listen to us tonight.
Thank you very much. Cathy, closing?
Thank you, Karen, and thank you, everybody who's taking their time to listen to this. This election really is so important for all of us. It will determine whether or not our voices are silenced or listened to, heard, and respected. It will determine whether we make true progress with actionable legislation on public safety and affordability, or whether they are just listened to and remain buzzwords. It will determine which voices are heard as city develops. A wealthy few focused on their partisan politics, or working families, small businesses, and those on fixed incomes. I have the proven leadership with standing up with you, my neighbors, proven leadership that can bring a diverse group of people together who are focused on what's in common with us, Lakewood. I believe we can work together to respond to parking, housing, stormwater, and other quality of life issues with meaningful legislative solutions, and not endless studies and listening that amounts to go away. Most importantly, we can build trust with you, our community, where the current leadership has failed to represent their constituents. I will bring transparency and accountability and decision-making that represents you, my constituents. Together, we can set a tone of trust and respect with a city government focused on common legislative priorities. I have proven leadership and knowledge to hit the ground running. My name is Cathy Kentner. I'm a Jeffco teacher in Lakewood, a single parent, a Lakewood Planning Commissioner, and your neighbor. Together, we have stood up for our neighbors and our neighborhoods. As your mayor, I will continue to work with you, with all of council, to focus our priorities and build on our common ground. Together, our future can be one where a government that listens, respects, and takes action for all voices. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And thank you for coming here tonight, Don Burkhart, Cathy Kentner, joining us in discussing some of these issues. Wendy Strom is our third candidate who is not here tonight. No matter what, these candidates deserve our gratitude for making the hard decision to run. It is not easy, and it gives us the choice in government we would not have without these brave individuals standing up. You, the viewers, have honored that choice by being informed. Thank you, everyone, for working together. Thank you again, Cathy Kentner.
Thank you.
Don Burkhart.
Thank you.
For mayor. Have a good night.